Greetings everyone, this is A.M.O.P.S, and I present to you a month of positive solutions. So without any further delay, I want to get right into this topic matter without introductions or anything like that. Basically, this topic that is the first topic of this month is defending the honor of black women. Throughout this discussion, I will be dealing with what I perceive to be solutions to this problem. So, as I stated before, basically the problem is for the last 500 years, at least in American history, there seems to have been a steady stream of attacks by Western media on black women. So in order to deal with a problem, to present solutions, you have to first know what the issues are. In this slide, I show that basically, according to my understanding, the source of the attack is Western media. Next, basically pop culture, entertainment industry has been used as tools to perpetuate stereotypes or bad images of African American or black women. These images go back historically in America to the mammy, the angry and aggressive female, single motherhood, and exotic, almost like the whore type of glamour. So these are the things that I see as the biggest issues when it comes to the honor of black women. These things have to be conquered in order to get past this point. So when we look at the history of these stereotypes, I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to actually define them for myself, but there's a number of sources. These are just being three that I kind of picked out, or actually four, two of them being on YouTube, that I picked out as good, if you will, overall descriptions of what the basic issues are. So you can visit these sites and get a better idea of the history of these stereotypes, where they came from, and how they are still being used even today in Western media, and how that media still affects worldwide media. So this is something that's a problem on a bigger scale. So now that we've identified the problems, let's deal with the solutions. I see three basic solutions to dealing with what has previously been noted as the Western media stereotype or almost attack upon black women. The first primary solution is to do anti-media tactics. The second is demonizing the sources. And the third is redirecting children before the media can even get to them. So in these next few slides, or this next part of the presentation, I'll be going through how I see those working. When you deal with anti-media tactics, you have to kind of use whatever you have, and that's basically social networking sites, long-term boycotts, and create online media outlets that can be connected to the worldwide sources of media, and also media watchdog groups. Basically, these are kind of the main four tactics in terms of anti-media tactics that I can see actually working. Okay, so here's an overall overview of how this particular solution works. Basically, when you start dealing with how do you fight the media, when you start looking at the images that the media puts out there in terms of black women, it's not something that I even want to even put in this video. So what I'm going to do is do the opposite. I'm basically going to show you the images of black women that I know, the ones that I learned to respect as a kid. So in order to defeat media corporations, it's going to be hard to try to face them off money by money, dollar by dollar, or cent by cent. But people do have access to things like YouTube. People do have access to social networking sites. So imagine if enough people who are like-minded on this issue, that black women are basically getting shafted by these various Western media outlets, were to come together throughout all of these social networking sites and basically start planning out ways to permanently boycott these corporations. And when I talk about a permanent boycott, I'm not talking about one where you go and stand in front of their building, and then one day, and then as soon as they make changes, as minor or as major as you want, you go back to them. What I'm saying is all out, it's war. They never will get another dollar from you again. And, basically they will be demonized, throughout anyone who will listen. And the images that, like, for example, you're seeing right now, be the substitute in terms of what people see. So these things can easily be done, just like I'm doing it now on YouTube. These things can be done on Facebook. The major thing is that there are enough tools there to be able to completely present the image that, truly, I guess you could say, emphasizes many of the realities of black women. And this is the important thing, because like I said, the technology with digital cameras, with digital software, with movie making software, places pretty much entertainment in the hands of the average person. And this is something that the entertainment business can't fight if you have enough dedicated people standing on a certain ground and producing enough quality, like entertainment, if you will, quality media or apparatus to be able to fight those negative images. So one of the major components of the solutions that I'm presenting is something to deal with redirecting children. I'm a firm believer that if you can get to the kids, if you can get to them before they get trapped in the media way of looking at things, you can turn this whole thing around, and basically that's to, dealing with some of the solutions that you see in front of you right now, in terms of specifically targeting kids in order to demonize the media to them, not just make it sound as if it's like a witch hunt and that it's evil per se, but basically to say that if you look at the history, if you look at the situation, that the media has been creating false images of African American women and replacing those images with things that can be seen and, basically be, if you will, open the eyes of those children. So what you're seeing now are a number of images, once again, the things that I grew up seeing when it came to black women or African women. So imagine if these things became the norm. Imagine if every child that went to a school, every child that was looking on TV or looking at some kind of internet media saw these images instead of the ones that we know to be negative. If these were the images that they were continuously, you'd almost say brainwashed with or indoctrinated with in order to get them away from Western media, I think you could have a major change and shift in how the media portrays itself, simply because at some point they wouldn't have any future customers. Now when I say demonize, I use that word specifically in order to push home the idea that, because of the fact that the media has been at this game for so long to try to make black women look as if they are the mammy or if they are the Jezebel or, basically all the things I mentioned earlier, you have to have something stronger than that image to replace it with. I mean, it's not just a matter of, relying on the media to provide the image. What I'm saying is that the images are there. No different than pretty much every picture you're seeing in terms of the black women, that the way that I know them, African women the way that I know them, are things that I found just going around myself, so this is a media that I'm creating. Now imagine if someone was able to take a media like this and do it 10 times better than I can do it, for pretty much free, which is, what it cost me to produce this presentation. So if I could present something like this, for example, to kids, all over the world, and basically show them how the Western media is playing them, and also taking their money, if you will, because quite a bit of this, I believe, is consumer related, if you will, and those things were replaced with these images, for example, you could completely turn the whole situation around. But that's also going to require that people get organized in terms of creating programs to work with kids, in terms of getting together with school officials to also try to back the idea that if kids young enough are exposed to these things, you can completely change their image of Western media. One of the reasons I know that this is true is because I'm a product of such a situation. When I was actually younger, my mother sent me specifically to a cultural center that was meant to open my eyes to the fact of what the realities were, not just about black women, not just about Jewish women or African American women, but just people in general. Being a part of that at a young age basically got to me early enough so that when I did get kind of influenced by Western media, it didn't last long. That basically I remembered what the reality was that I grew up with, and I wanted to return to that reality. But once again, that was because there were people who were involved in the process. There were people who were working with me as a child and basically being seen in the community. I know that what I'm presenting right now just sounds like some real general stuff, and it's really common sense the way I look at it. But once again, because of the fact that I don't see too many people organizing this kind of stuff in, specifically with the goal to fight Western media when it comes to black women, I'm presenting these things kind of in a presentation form just so that people can see a structure of how such a thing can be done. Because once again, as I said before, you're basically fighting a large media entity or group of media entities that have millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, to throw at this thing. So that means that they've got a head start, number one. They've got more money. But because of the fact that they don't have the complete access to the kids, the complete access to the schools themselves, it would be, I would say, on some level simple for people who are, of a common goal to get together and basically start getting out there and getting into these schools and working with these kids and changing the image by presenting them with an alternate image. Because of the fact that this is affecting black women, I'm going to have to go ahead and say that black women are going to have to be the ones that head this up, along with like-minded people. That can be people of any race, people of any gender that are interested in promoting the reality of black women. So now we get to the most important point of this particular presentation. Whenever there's a person, whenever there's a woman, even a black woman who stands in contrast to the right image and basically stands in alignment with the stereotypes, those people have to be excommunicated. I mean, I don't know of any other way to deal with people who will choose to continuously put the wrong image out there in terms of black women. In my next video, I'll be covering this in more detail and give more in-depth concepts of what I'm talking about. This is just kind of an introduction. So once again, this is the first video of a month of positive solutions. So let me know what you think. And once again, remember, there's going to be a second part to this video to kind of give more detail on exactly what I'm talking about.